Okay, a pleasant afternoon to everyone, especially to you, dear students, your parents, and some of your teachers, including myself, belong to a generation so much different from yours. Our values were mostly formed by our parents, grandparents, and school. Of course, we had television, but basically, if we really wanted to be good, all we had to do was listen to our elders. There was not much influence that ran contrary to our values, and if there were, it was easy to spot them. Because of the absence of many comforts and privileges, it was easier for us to develop values like patience, industry, diligence, perseverance, commitment, and all the other values that may seem old fashioned to some people. On the contrary, your generation has grown up in a world full of technological advancements that has brought you all the comforts that our generation never had growing up. Almost all, if not all, of your activities are done using these advancements in technology, from playing games to shopping and now even attending school. Through no fault of yours, you are exposed to different values, many of them contrary to the values your parents and your school want you to have. To make matters worse, it is not so easy to spot them because media and including the so-called influencers has a way of making the good look bad and the bad look good. However, despite the fact that the present circumstances can make it hard for young people to be good, you can still be good. And this is the reason we are all gathered here this afternoon. We believe in your sincere desire to be good and in your capacity to be good and to do good. So, our dear students, we hope that you would give our speaker your full attention so that instead of being merely victims and slaves of our technocentric world, you may learn how to thrive in it, doing good and being good. Without any further delay, may I now call on Mr. Lloyd Christian Rivera to introduce our guest speaker.
So our speaker this afternoon is a lecturer from University of Asia and the Pacific in the Philippines. In his 30 years experience as a teacher, he has taught students from grade 4 to college as well as postgraduate school in various subjects like English, Latin, creative writing, values education, and literature among others. He is a graduate of the University of Santo Tomas, where he earned a double degree in AB journalism and AB literature and an MA in creative writing. At present, he is doing his dissertation for his PhD studies in the same university. He was the founding executive director of the Westbridge School in Iloilo City, south of the Philippines. He was in the first batch of graduates of Parep Southridge School, where he also taught for 15 years, occupying various posts, including principal of intermediate school, vice principal of high school, and department head of religion. At present, he serves as the executive director of Center for the Fourth and Fifth R's, Respect and Responsibility, advocating strong character development in schools, families, and communities. It is an international affiliate of the center based in the State University of New York in Cortland, New York, USA. He has been invited to speak all over the country, as well as in Washington, D.C., San Diego, California, USA, and Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. So without further ado, let me now give the floor to Sir Man Rentoy.
Hello. Thank you, Sir Lloyd, for that nice introduction. Good afternoon, dear friends. First of all, of course, I'd like to thank St. Paul University for giving me this opportunity to spend time with you. I'm always excited to be with young people because you are our future. I mean, I'm speaking here to people who most likely are going to be tomorrow's leaders. You are the ones who are going to run the Philippines. I mean, I'm not exaggerating. I may be addressing in this Zoom room today even the future president of the Philippines. And my prayer is that please, if you're going to be the future president of the Philippines, be good, do good. We need you. Okay, so I'm very excited to be with you. I'm going to share with you many ideas about how to thrive in this kind of world that you're living in, which is very tough, very difficult, very challenging. First things first, my dear students, please realize many of your teachers, as well as your parents, are having such a tough time in this pandemic. This is a very challenging time for everyone. Please be very considerate of the sacrifices being put in by your parents and by your teachers. Okay? I know some teachers who, in fact, quit. They left the teaching profession. They gave up because they think this online thing is not for them. I know some teachers who gave up. Your teachers continue teaching in spite of the great challenge, the great sacrifice this now entails. This is not what we have been trained to do, but they continue teaching. Please appreciate the effort, the sacrifice that they are putting in. And the way to appreciate the sacrifice they're putting in is by being the best students you can possibly be in spite of the situation. Okay? Again, I repeat, I am addressing here the future of the Philippines. Some of you are going to be presidents of companies in charge of hundreds of employees. Some of you may be our future mayor, governor, congressman, senator, and as I said, even president of the Philippines. Please, the reason why I am very excited to speak with young people is because I am talking to the people who can do something about the crisis we see in the world today. You know what's happening in the world. You know what's happening in Afghanistan. You know what's happening in our country. You know what's such tragedy. Many things are very tragic. There are people who are trying to rewrite history, revise history. Uh, Please, I need you, my dear young people, in this talk today to commit yourselves. Be the best students you can possibly be so that you can prepare yourselves to be the best professionals in the future. We need you. Um, if I'm talking to very old people, I cannot be saying these things. Tapos na ang panahon nila. You are now the ones we are counting on. And so um, thank St. Paul University for organizing this talk because it shows its commitment to really be very faithful to its tradition of forming good men and women who are going to change society for the better. And we heard it in the opening remarks earlier on. We need you to be good. We need you to do good. The world that we are living in today is in a crisis and it's not exactly the best in the best situation. I'm not just talking about the pandemic. I'm talking about a Congress that is trying to push for legalization of divorce and abortion. I'm talking of day after day, you read about corruption, billions of pesos being pocketed by corrupt politicians. And it seems no one is taking responsibility for it. My dear young people, here's the first message now. Please be angry. I need you to be angry at all this corruption and the immorality and the evil that is happening in the world. And that anger should not end just there. That anger should be replaced by the commitment. I have to be good. I have to do good and drown evil in an abundance of good. We're counting on you. We need you, my dear young people. And this is not just a manner of speaking. I mean, I'm not just saying this because it sounds nice. No, I'm saying this because this is the reality. We are counting on you, young people, to change the world, to replace those clowns in Congress and Senate. I will not say Malacanang, but we need to replace those people with very good men and women of character. You're the ones. Dream of it. If some of you here started feeling inspired, ay, oo nga, I can be a congressman. I can be a governor. I can be a powerful politician doing a lot of good. If you felt that, I mean, if there is something inside you that says, be inspired, well, maybe it's the Holy Spirit telling you, today, commit yourselves, prepare yourselves to be the future real leaders of our country, to be good and to do good. We need you in spite of the kind of technocentric world that you're living in. Even when it is difficult, I think you will agree with me, it has become harder, right? To do good and to be good. I mean, with all the things you watch in news of corruption, of criminality, of murder, rape, assault, theft, you read about this in the news every day. You hear this from the primetime news. Parang it has become harder to be it has become more difficult to be good. But no, even when it is difficult, even when no one is looking, don't be like some politicians who distorted this principle to be equivalent to it's okay to steal for as long as you don't get caught. Anong klaseng values yan? It's okay to steal for as long as you don't get caught. Some politicians seem to have adopted that kind of principle. No, be good, do good, even when no one is looking, and yet, and yes, even when others are not. I mean, don't be affected by the news that you read about of corruption, of criminality, of dishonesty, lying, even when they are not good. You, students of St. Paul University, commit yourselves to be good and to do good. At this time, in this specific history of mankind, we count on you. We need you. And please have that as your vision, okay? Well, the rest of the things I'm going to talk about here will be about the technocentric lifestyle um, that you are so immersed in. But the most important idea is already that. Envision yourself to be our leader tomorrow. Good, being good, doing good. Well, I know many of you consider Steve Jobs as a hero. With the iPhone 13 being released yesterday, we again remember his legacy. Well, this is what he says. If you are working on something exciting that you really care about, you don't have to be pushed. The vision pulls you. And I hope this vision of I will be a good leader tomorrow, doing good, changing the world for the better, let that vision push you to strive to be the best student you can possibly be now so that you prepare yourself for that future that awaits you. And my gosh, I am looking forward to a Philippine society led by graduates of St. Paul University of Quezon City, doing good, being good, changing the world for the better, especially taking care of the poor and the needy. Because in any corruption, sila ang talagang naghihirap, ang mga mahihirap. The poor and the needy are the ones who suffer the most when you have corruption, when you have dishonesty, when you have immorality. So that's a choice. Please choose it today. Okay. The rest of the things I'm going to talk about here are not as important as this idea. Choose to be the best human being you can possibly be because we need you. The world needs you. The Philippines needs you. Pero there's a challenge. You live in this specific time in the history of mankind where technology has played a very different role. Technology, media, social media, they have the power to influence individual beliefs, attitudes, and behaviors. What was mentioned earlier by Ma'am in the introduction, in the opening remarks, media presenting to you something good to be bad and something bad to be good. And that's what's happening now. Media is capable of distorting your values, distorting many of our values and virtues that we have been raised to cherish.
Every
I
day.
Okay, I will show that video later if there is time for it. Now, please take note when we say technocentric, we are talking here about the gadgets, about media, about television, about cable TV, about Netflix, Spotify. We include all those things. And we are not condemning them. I mean, I'm not saying doon na lang tayo mamundok. Tumira tayo sa kabundukan na walang kuryente. Of course not. Thanks to technology, we're here together today talking about a very important topic. Thanks to technology, we continue schooling. We did not have to say, shut down all the schools, no more learning. Let's wait until things get better. No, we said it's going to be tougher. It's going to be more challenging for the students, we acknowledge, as for the teachers, as for the parents, but let's move on. Let's not allow the pandemic to stop our life, to prevent us from moving forward. So technology is not bad, but it's a double-edged sword. There are many pros, many good sides to it, many fantastic things that we are very thankful for, that we are very grateful for, because in the first place, you know it, not all screen media is bad. I mean, I know many of you are fans of TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Netflix, Spotify. I mean, you are very lucky to have all these things. And not all of them is bad. We're not condemning all these things as bad. Some of them, thanks to technology, uh, life has become more comfortable, convenient, and even uh, pleasurable. I mean, really, thanks to media, um, we can fight boredom more effectively, efficiently. So here are some pros. Thanks to technology, we are connected. We continue to be connected. I have classmates that I have not seen since 1984 when I graduated from Southridge High School. But suddenly I found them in Facebook. We're now connected and we have get-togethers and Zoom meetings, updating each other about families. We now live in a global village. That's why as it was happening, we were aware of what's of the tragedy in Afghanistan. We are aware of Pope Francis visiting Slovakia and uh, reaching out to our fellow Catholics there in the other side of the world. We're living in a global village thanks to technology, thanks to gadgets and media. You now have easy access to knowledge and information. Unlike when I was young, we have to go to the library and choose one big book from 27 volumes of Britannica Encyclopedia in order to research. You, at a click of a button here, a button there, and you have thousands of pages of information on whatever topic that you may be researching on. And thanks to technology, news travels faster. Right now I'm here in Baguio, and I remember, I think that was 1991 when there was a terrible earthquake that killed thousands of people. There's a school in Central Luzon that collapsed and killed many students. No, and we didn't know about it until 3 days later. There was no cell phone, and because of the earthquake, all the television stations, radio stations shut down, and here in Baguio, and we didn't know that Baguio turned into a ghost town until 2 or 3 days later. But now, no, as things happen, you are made aware. That's fantastic. Thank you, technology, for making this happen. Um, now there are the so-called there's the woke generation, some young people who think they know better than the older people simply because they have more access to information. But we cannot, on the other hand, of course, discount the fact that there is such a thing as wisdom, the wisdom of the uh, elders, of the older generation, of the older people. Okay, and thanks to technology, you are so lucky to be living at this time in the history of mankind where you have hundreds of movies to choose from available for you in Netflix, no? You are so lucky to have the practically any song you can find in Spotify available for you there. You have hundreds of channels of cable TV. When I was growing up, there were only three television stations. Tatatlo lang. And they would sign off at 10 in the evening. 10 p.m., tulog na kami kasi wala nang television. Not you. You can wake up at 2 a.m. and there's the more than 1 billion videos in YouTube. Not to mention all the K-dramas, all the episodes, all the seasons of uh, the K-dramas that many of you are fans of. So, you're lucky. You're so fortunate to be living at this time in the history of mankind where entertainment is so rich for you. And then you're living in a world right now where you are being made to express yourself, self expression. When I was younger, it's very easy to be timid, shy, or to be enclosed in our shell. No, not you. As soon as you turn on Facebook, you log in, Facebook asks you, what's on your mind? Express yourself. Let the world know. Um, and then, of course, you can also mention, you're now more adept in the use of technology, the text. Many of you can text without looking at the cell phone. Aminin, totoo yan. Kala mo nakatingin ka sa screen. Ano kala ni teacher na kikinig ka sa kanya sa Zoom room? Pero yung kamay mo nandun sa likod ng lap ng computer, abay nagte-text, nagsa-surf, nag-like dito, nagko-comment doon, nag-heart dyan sa Facebook, sa Twitter. So, you're more adept. That's a skill that you have. But I said technology is a double-edged sword. It also has negative side to it. And this is what I need to warn you about, because if you are to grow up to be good and to do good, you need to make sure technology is used properly, that you do not get sucked into the black hole of technocentric digital lifestyle that brings about a tragedy in the lives of some people. Here are some cons. Unfortunately, the very same pros, positive things, are bringing about some negative things. While we are so connected, while we now have all these gadgets to be connected to anyone in any part of the world, that is also bringing about a certain disconnection among many households. I mean, in many families, you suddenly have a certain disconnect that is happening. I mean, you can be all under the same roof, but each one to his gadget. Before the pandemic, I used to eat sometimes in restaurants, and I see a family in the other table, a whole family waiting for their order. Are they talking? Ay, hindi. Each to his own cell phone, gadget. There's a certain disconnect that suddenly has happened. According to research, you can confirm it. According to research, young people like you now prefer to text than face-to-face conversation. You prefer to express yourself by posting it in Facebook than actually calling a friend and telling him or her to his face or to her face what you want to say. That's why sometimes you read things like that in Facebook, ano, yung away niya sa kanyang kapatid, alam ng buong mundo kasi pinost niya sa Facebook, pinost niya sa Instagram, pinost niya sa Twitter. So that's a disconnect. There's something wrong with it. Now, while we celebrate technology for giving us access to knowledge and information, there is also what we call overload, information overload. I mean, with all this information now available to you, how can you now determine what's fake, what's true, what's correct, what is wrong? Especially because, for example, alam yan ng mga politicians. Many politicians know how gullible people can be. You've heard of people saying, totoo to, nabasa ko sa Facebook eh. Totoo to, na-share to 10,000 times eh sa Twitter. Of course not. That's not basis of truth simply because 1,000 likes, ibig sabihin, totoo na yon. Sabi ng research, this point in the history of mankind, we have the biggest number of gullibility, gullible people. May mga tao who will not even read the headline. They will like it, they will heart it, they will react to it, they will be angry, they will condemn without actually even reading the article. Headline lang ang nakita niya. And some politicians know that. So, we have information overload, and this makes it more challenging for you to be good, to do good, because there are people who are taking advantage of this, spreading information with spreading lies. In the same way that now that we have news traveling faster, fake news is also traveling faster and more effectively. As I said, politicians know this and they use it to their advantage. They take advantage to be able to sway voters, spreading lies to destroy the opponent, calumnies, especially now, election season. Makikita mo yun sa Facebook, sa Twitter, sa Instagram, every day. Politicians hurling insults against each other, spreading lies. And then, if it is proven to be false, there's no apology. I mean, you're not going to hear an apology. Nakasira na ng pangalan, nakakalat na ng fake news, and it's a tragedy. And we are the victims. We are made to believe things that may actually be fake. And then, sabi ko sa inyo kanina, swerte ninyo, ang ganda ng available entertainment for you. Spotify, Netflix, Instagram, Twitter, social media. All these are fantastic. But for the first time in the history of mankind, even a 6-year-old kid, basta marunong na siya mag-internet, a few clicks here, a few clicks there, can be subjected to the most harmful, gruesome, destructive, pornographic images, or violent images. That's how it is. And many of you are fans of Games of Thrones, di ba? Or Game of Thrones. Many of you are fans of blockbuster movies where you have um, hundreds being killed. Sabi ng research sa United States, a kid today, by the time he turns 13 years old, would have witnessed around 18,000 murders from movies, television shows, and video games. Video games where the more you kill, the more points you get, the higher level you go. Uh, ML, Counter Strike, Clash of Clans. I mean, all these are celebrating, glamorizing sex, violence. I mentioned self expression. Fantastic. You're being made to express yourself. But this same mindset, this same available thing for you is developing in many young people a certain insatiable need to be noticed, to be validated, to be entertained. TikTok, I'll give you an example. The engineers who designed TikTok, the algorithm is designed for the person to have maximum desire for followers, likes, comments, shares, viewers. That's how it is. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, they are designed for a person to want to want to get as many likes and as many hearts. And we are being manipulated. I mean, it may take a bit of sincerity, honesty with yourself. Ay, oo nga, biktima na ako nito. Para bang, I'm not happy with 10 likes. I feel bad kung 10 lang ang nag-like doon sa aking pinaghirapang TikTok video. Gusto ko 1,000. You feel bad if wala man lang pumansin. That's how technology now is manipulating our mindsets. The insatiable need to be noticed, validated, entertained. So when I was younger, when in the older generation, there's no such thing as being addicted to selfies. Some, not you, maybe some young people out there, tingnan mo yung kanilang Facebook and Instagram, abay may 150 pictures ng kanilang mukha. Ang pangit niya naman, no? I mean, um, but that is the world. The world is telling you, express yourself. Let the world know how you look like. And wait for people to like and comment, wow, ang ganda naman. No filter. How cute. Some people even going live in Facebook, waiting for as many audience. I mean, as many viewers. Pagka walang, dalawa lang, nanay ko tsaka tatay, they turn off, I mean, what's the point of going live kung wala ka namang viewers, And then some people waiting, for people to send message, ate, pa-shout out naman, kuya, pa-shout out. And you wonder, what's the point of the shout out? That's how technology is designed right now, manipulating you into wanting to have followers, likes, comments, hearts, and people who will share your post. And that's why some young people are beginning to develop a wrong perception of worth of a person. Especially now that we have this phenomenon of influencers with 10,000, 50,000, 1 million followers in YouTube, in Facebook, in Twitter, in Instagram, in TikTok, and and here we are, we cannot even get 10, and we feel bad, and we feel something's wrong with me. And then I know some young people who can start getting depressed, thinking there's something wrong with me, something is bad about me. Or some of us old people, we feel uneasy, when we see some young people posting, hey guys, I'm in Tagaytay. Any recommendation where what restaurant to eat? Yan. And some of us older people thinking, bahala kang kumain ka kung anong gusto mo. Don't bother the world. But okay, this is what I told your parents. Don't blame the young people for these things. I mean, it's not their fault that technology is available for them. This is just part of the available things for them at this time in the history of mankind. So, but that technocentric lifestyle that is being manipulated for you to develop, no, to let the world know your opinion, in my opinion. So some of you will post, you liked that movie, you did not like this TV show, you like the K-drama, you like BTS, you don't like Blackpink, I mean, you express your opinion about everything. And some older people cannot appreciate that, but that's just what it is. You are being manipulated, you are being told by the technology to let the world know your feelings, feeling blessed, feeling happy, feeling sad. So some young people will post about yung away niya with his dad, yung away niya with his sister, ranting. And well, okay, now even worse, do we really need to know what your outfit of the day is? Or worse, do we really need to know how you look like when you woke up? You woke up like this. Some some young people post things like that. Now, okay, I said we shouldn't blame you. We shouldn't blame you for all these things because it's technology available to you. But somebody has to tell you, young people, when you do these things, when you use technology to express yourself, to let the world know how you look like, you are leaving behind a digital footprint. Be very responsible in what you post because someday it may haunt you. I know some people who got rejected in their job application, who did not get accepted in the university that they're applying for because the HR officer, the human resource officer, the one responsible for hiring, looked into the social media of the person to try to get to know more about anong klaseng personality nito. Ay, puro atake against the government. Ay, palaban, pati away niya sa nanay niya, nilaladlad sa buong mundo. I know some people who failed job interviews because of their social media. So please be very responsible. Realize that you are leaving behind a digital footprint that you are going to be judged by for the rest of your life. Be very responsible in what you post, in how you use social media. Okay, while we talked about you're more adept in the use of your fingers in typing, okay, but that is also bringing about a certain mindset of wanting to be always connected. And sometimes this is what happens in some houses. The worst punishment that parents can give their children: no Wi-Fi, confiscated ang cell phone, no use of computer, no gadget. And for them, it's the worst punishment because the craving for constant connection is like the highest good that they have. And some of you may start complaining about physical pain. Of course, because the whole Saturday, you're looking down at your screen, at your tablet, at your gadget. And when you do that, it's like you are carrying a heavy bowling ball on your neck because man is created with the eyes looking forward, not looking down, with a head looking forward. So when you're doing like that, that's what you call the textile trauma. It's like you are carrying 60 pounds of pressure on your neck, which is what's bringing about many times among young people. Nay, nahihilo ko. Nay, ang sakit ng leeg ko. Nay, bakit ganon? Monday pa lang stress na ako. Bakit ganon? Hindi naman ako nag-basketball, but I feel tired. I have headache. All this have something to do with a technocentric digital lifestyle that we are manipulated to be immersed in by the environment, by the world. And I know some of you who may have that um, anong tawag dyan, habit. Ang iniisip nyo, I will just, I will sleep until I feel sleepy. But meanwhile, I can just check my Facebook, Twitter in bed. And then when I'm sleepy na, then I will turn it off na. Please realize the blue screen coming out of your cell phone, tablet, computer, laptop, the blue screen is emitting a signal to the brain that is telling the brain it is still daytime. The blue screen is telling the brain it is still daytime. So if you expect to feel sleepy, you scroll until you feel sleepy. You're not going to feel sleepy because your brain is being given that message. It's still daytime. And then in many houses, this is what's happening now, di ba? Para bang it's always a struggle between the parents and the children. Stop playing computer games. Tama na yan. Kain na tayo. No texting. So all these are bringing about all these complications. And not to mention, of course, the researchers describe you as the sleep-deprived generation. You are described as the sleep-deprived generation. Kulang sa tulog. Oo nga naman, kasi now you hear of Netflix marathon, K-drama marathon, finishing a whole series in one weekend, even if it is 2 a.m. Because anyway, walang klase tomorrow, it's a Sunday. But all these, please realize, it's doing damage to your brain, to your health, to your mindset. All these are brought about by the technological lifestyle that you are very immersed in. Take care of yourself, take care of your mental health. The reason why you now have more and more cases of teenagers falling into depression. Ayan. Um, many of these are rooted in the technocentric digital lifestyle that is so unique to this generation of yours. Take care of yourselves. Some of you may still be in denial. No, sir, hindi ako computer addict. Okay, let's ask the experts. Ano ang symptoms of being computer addicts? If most of non-school hours are spent on the computer or playing video games, even to the point of kulang sa kain, hindi nakakain, hindi nakaligo, because you prefer to be playing video games than taking a bath or taking care of your hygiene. You fall asleep in school, even in the online class, the synchronous class, or you keep on delaying, procrastinating your asynchronous assignments because you prefer to be spending your time in technology, in gadgets, in cell phone. So these are signs na, uy, come on, do something about it. Admit it na meron kang certain addiction that you have to fight against, that you have to go against. Or when a person starts lying about computer use or computer or video game use. So for example, magigising ka ng 2 a.m. kasi alam mo tulog na ang parents mo. Tapos doon ka mag-ML, doon ka that's a form of lying, dishonesty, cheating even. Then maybe it's about time to admit, yeah, I need help. I'm an addict. I already have to do something. Or to choose to be with your computer, with your cell phone, with your tablet, with your Netflix, rather than seeing friends. These are, according to experts, not me, this is not according to your parents. This is what experts say. Ito raw, yung mga possible signs na the person has to already fight against addiction. Or itong idea, no, na para bang you're only happy when you are with your Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, video games. And when you're not with that, parang ang init ng ulo mo, you're impatient, you easily get upset, you easily get angry. And then, of course, physically, here are more when we really have to already admit, I need help. I have to talk to my parents. I have to talk to my teachers. Tama nga siguro si nanay. Dapat after 10, no more. Dapat I have to discipline myself. I have to have self-control. You can do it. You can be, um, you can overcome addiction if you want to. Virgil says they can because they think they can. And we go back to idea number one. Choose to be the best human being you can possibly be. Choose to be good and to do good. You know what is good. Deep inside you, you know what is right. To listen to your parents, to obey house rules, to do what is right and not what just you like, but what you have to do. I have a few more minutes left, just quickly to give you some tips to win the battle. Here's number one, please take care of yourself, your sleep. Don't underestimate the importance of sleep. When a person lacks sleep, he or she is killing a lot of brain cells, which explains why when you lack sleep, ang hirap mag-concentrate, ang hirap mag-focus, ang hirap mag-memorize, ang hirap magbasa. My reading comprehension is affected. That is effect of lack of sleep. Believe me, sleep is very crucial. Do not underestimate the power of distractions. Sure, we enjoy Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and all those social media, YouTube, Netflix, but sometimes you also have to come to admit if it is affecting your grades, it's a distraction. If it is affecting your relationship with the family, it's a distraction. If it is affecting you as a human being, maybe it's self-discipline that you need to say, I will have to cut down. I will have to remove some few hours from uh, all these distractions. They're nice, but sometimes some things in life may not necessarily be good. They're nice, they're enjoyable, but they are not necessarily good. Manage your time wisely. Realize that you are preparing yourself to be the future president of the Philippines. You are preparing yourself to be the president of a company that will have 500 employees to take care of. You have a mission to fulfill. Your time is very important. Don't kill it. Don't waste it in 10 hours of video games over the weekend, especially now when we have this online setup. You realize it. You are your own boss, especially with the asynchronous and modules that you have to finish on your own at your own time. You are your own boss. And Spider-Man tells us, with great responsibility, with great power comes great responsibility. Self-control, develop it. Develop delayed gratification. Don't be swayed by the environment telling you to have instant gratification, immediate gratification. Learn how to wait. For example, many of you perhaps were uh, made excited by the release of iPhone 13 yesterday. But your iPhone 12 is perfectly okay, or your iPhone 11 is still perfectly okay. Delayed gratification may mean I can wait 2 years. I don't have to change my phone right away simply because Apple yesterday released the latest one. Delayed gratification is very important. And then discover your passion. And I hope some of you discovered your passion when I was talking about politics earlier. Politicians, politics is not evil. Politics is not evil. It's evil people who make it so. We need good men and women there. Okay? And so some of you may have discovered my passion is to serve. My passion is to, some of you did community pantry to be of help to the needy and to the poor. Fantastic. Some of you are maybe discovering you have gift for writing, for speaking, for drawing. Discovered it. And then you will realize it's not hard work anymore when you are doing your passion. Treat media like food. I mean, right? There are some food that may be healthy, but there are some that are carcinogenic, bad. They can make you sick. They can make you. So treat media like food. And then be a first class citizen as St. Paul University has always wanted you to be. First class, hindi yung mediocre, hindi yung uh, lame, no no effort at being good. St. Paul University has always taught you, come on, be the best you can be. Not just academically, but especially in being able to do something for society, to do good. My dear young people, you get to choose your character, the kind of person you are becoming. We cannot dictate this on you. It's your choice. You are the one. You're the ones who will determine, I will be good. I will be mediocre. I will be so-so. I will be average. Today, please choose to be the best persons you can possibly be. You create your character by the choices you make. You are the chief architect of your personal character. No one can build your character for you. It's only you. Today, choose to be the best person you can possibly be. Keep your eyes on the prize. I am going to make a difference in society. I will change the world for the better. I will serve humanity. And then finally, let me end with this. Oh, do not underestimate the power of faith. You are studying in one of the prime Catholic universities in the Philippines, maybe even in Asia. You have to have that spirit of St. Paul, being Christ centered, that when people meet you, they will say, wow, this man is a good man of Christ, a woman of faith, man of faith. Do not underestimate the power of faith, especially if some of you may already have realized I'm computer addict. I am manipulated by social media. I have been wasting a lot of time in then believe in the power of prayer, believe in the power of faith, rely on God's grace, count on God's help to make you the best persons you can possibly be. I end just with that main idea. Choose to be the good persons you can possibly be because the world needs you. Your family needs you. I mean, really, your parents are putting in a big sacrifice to make you study in a very good university. It's not cheap. It's not easy. I mean, let's face it. Come on. I'm not, it's hard on the part of your parents as well as on the part of your teachers. Now, it's your choice. What will you make of all these gifts, all these blessings, all these opportunities that you are being given? I end with this, and I will maybe they will open the floor for questions and answers, but I wish you good luck, and I look forward to meeting many of you as president, as senator, as congressman, as somebody very important in the world, making a difference in society. Thank you very much.
Cerise de la Cruz says, three helping people, pros and cons of technology. Okay, so she's sharing what she learned during the talk, helping people, pros and cons of technology. Um, from 11 Thessalonians, just because the world now evolves in technology, we still have the choice to not be, we still have the choice to not be technology centered for the betterment of how we live, express ourselves, and find sources of happiness. There are so many ways to express yourself since the society and youth is now full of freedom of expression. However, technology doesn't need that. Social media won't care about that. Okay, so I'd like to call some students before I read the next question. I'd like to call on some students. I think they are ready with their answers. From grade 8, St. Therese, grade 8, St. Therese, Cameron De Vera. Cameron, can you turn
Hello,
on your
please.
camera? Hi.
My camera is not available po because I need an extension wire and my other brother is using it.
Okay. So anyway, you may now share your 3, 2, 1.
The things I learned is I learned about computer addiction. I learned that it is hard to overcome, but you have to believe that you can do it. I learned about how overcoming computer addiction can make you a better person
Mm-hmm.
and how you treat other people.
Mm-hmm.
And two things that I learned that I want to share to all my parents or friends is that a lot of people experience computer addiction, so you shouldn't feel that you're alone in experiencing those things. And
Mm-hmm.
that technology deeply affects our way of living. So it is best to understand if it is really important to um, go to internet every day and spending hours on it. So
Mm-hmm.
you really have to think if it is really um, if it's really useful for you to do those things.
Mm-hmm.
And one question that I have and that is unclear is that does avoiding social media really make you a better person, or is it does it depend in the person?
Okay, Mr. Rentoy.
Okay, well, I made it very clear. So in the beginning of the talk, remember, I pointed it out as a pro, meaning to say as a positive thing. But if it is used irresponsibly, then it becomes a bad thing. So, in other words, I'm not saying do away with social media. I'm saying use social media responsibly because it can be used for the good, not just for entertainment. This is according to researchers. You young people are experts in the use of technology for entertainment, but not necessarily for productivity, for responsible um, fulfillment of tasks. And that's why if a person learns how to use social media according to good use, it's fantastic. Connecting, networking, uh, even entrepreneurs are discovering more ways of being able to make money, do business through technology. So um, I repeat because some of you may have gotten the wrong idea that I am condemning social media. Remember that I first started talking about it as a positive thing, pero anything in life that is used irresponsibly can become a bad thing, right? I mean, just like television, fantastic. It changed the lives of people. Television made news available for everybody when it came out. But anything in life that is used wrongly or irresponsibly can be bad. So that's why, what did we say? Treat it like food. Some are healthy, some are fantastic sources of protein and nutrients, and but um, choose wisely because there are also certain aspects to it that are destructive, negative, um, and even to the point of, as I mentioned, some people not being able to enter the university of their choice because of that. Some people not being able to um, make it to their dream job, because the HR discovers this guy is an irresponsible user of social media. So I hope I got to answer your question.
Thank you, Mr. Rintoy. Yes, Cameron, I hope that that's made clear to you. Social media is not really bad. It's just that anything in excess is bad. So let's use social media wisely. We manipulate social media, and it's not the one that's supposed to manipulate us. Okay, so that's a very nice reflection, Cameron, and thank you for sharing. There's a reflection sharing in the chat from 11 Thessalonians. I learned about treating social media like food. Take it in moderation. I learned about taking responsibility over what I post online. I learned about how common text tilt trauma is nowadays. I found it interesting how 13-year-old kids should have witnessed thousands of murders. I found it interesting how some people's social media accounts ruin their job interviews. Okay, thank you from Vesa. Um, I think we have time for one more. Let me just call one more sharer. From grade 9 OLA, Hannah Suwan.
Good afternoon po. Miss, can you hear me po ng maayos?
Yep,
Yes.
you're good.
Okay. So, three things I learned in the discussion. Social media has its pros and cons. Being too drained in social media can harm us physically and mentally. And then last is consuming of too much technology can affect our social being. Two things I found interesting was I learned that taking time off from social media can also help me grow individually as well. And we can become better individuals if we know how to separate on consuming negative from positive energy from social media. And yun lang po. I have nothing to ask since it was explained thoroughly. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Hannah, for sharing. Before we proceed, there is a question that I'd like to read in the chat from grade 10 ADT. Um, I noticed that there is a repeating pattern of the older generations counting on the younger generations to fix the world that they were the ones who damaged it. Why is it the younger generation's responsibility when the older generation have more ability in society to make genuine changes? Okay,
Okay.
Mr. Rintoy.
Yeah, well, very interesting question. One is I need to clarify it's not about damaging society. I mean, let's face it, the older generation are the ones also responsible for having what we have right now, seeing what we have right now. And when we older people say, you are our future, you are the ones who can fix things up in society, that's simply talking of the reality that sooner or later we're all gone and it's going to be in your hands. And how we wish you can make things better, not that we destroyed or we damaged the present, but this is just part of the evolution of human history, that things develop, progress as we see technology, industrialization, progress, development, change in mindsets, etc. Um, so now, true, we say the older people are the ones who are in a position right now to do things, to fix things up, to make things better. Um, but unfortunately, this is the unfortunate thing, especially here in the Philippines. We need, for example, to snuff out a system of corruption, a corruption that is systemic, that has been there for years, decades even. And it's almost like a cycle, you know, politicians wanting to be in position because they see it as a way of enriching themselves, of being able to get things for themselves. That has been going on since the time of Emilio Aguinaldo, since the time of Manuel Quezon. I mean, all these past generations, we've been seeing it. Now, what we are saying is we need a whole new generation of young people who will eventually change all these things for the better. A whole new generation of politicians who are going to be only thinking about serving and not enriching themselves. So that's the present situation right now. It is a systemic problem, and there's got to be a generational effort to change things for the better. At any point, someday, when you yourselves are old, because you are also going to be old like us, even older than we are right now, you also at that point will be saying, mga iho, mga anak, mga apo, pagbutihan ninyo dahil nasa inyong kamay ang kinabukasan. So, one is it's a manner of speaking, but two is it's also a reality. If we want things to be better and better, we have to prepare younger generation who are going to be good, do good, and always changing things for the better. Let me remind you, in the early Christians, in the time of the early Christians, when Saint Paul, after his conversion, went around to spread Christianity, he arrived in a town where people were worshiping a gigantic sex organ. That's how bad it was that time. And St. Paul had to preach, make things better for the love of Christ, do things better. And so it is because of good people who are like that, reminding young people when it's your time to set the tone and set things for the world. Please be good, do good, change the world for the better. But even better yet, because I'm talking to students of St. Paul University, I can actually say, please be bearers of Christ. Be another Christ where you are now and in the future, especially in the future when it's going to be in your hands.
Thank you, Mr. Rintoy. I hope you are satisfied with this answer, Genesis. Thank you for your interesting question. Okay, at this point, we would like to present our certificate of appreciation to our resource speaker. Sir Rivera. And let me read the citation. St. Paul University, Quezon City, St. Paul University System awards this certificate of appreciation to Mr. Emmanuel Rentoy for being the resource person to the webinar Thriving in the Technocentric World, Being Good and Doing Good, given the 17th day of September in the year of our Lord 2021 via Zoom. Signed, Aurora de la Vega, Senior High School Academic Team Leader, and Sister Eileen Bonifacio, SPC, Principal, Basic Education Department. Thank you so much, Mr. Rentoy.
Thank you very much also, and good luck in the rest of the school year and in your life. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. And we are truly happy and grateful for this webinar series we've had with you. Before we close, we would like to ask our dear principal, Sister Eileen Bonifacio, SPC, for some closing words.
Thank you, Ms. Remo. I hope you can hear me. Good afternoon to all. First, let me sincerely thank our resource person for this afternoon's webinar, Mr. Emmanuel Rentoy. What a fruitful and meaningful hours with you. Thank you so much, sir. Second, let me take this opportunity to personally welcome to this new school year our junior and senior high school students. I am Sister Eileen Bonifacio, SPC, your new principal. This is my first time to see you virtually, although I can see you, I just can see your names. Third, let me give my takeaway from this webinar. Just like you, I made my 3, 2, 1. 3 things I learned which I would like to emphasize. Number 1, be good and do good even when it is difficult, even when no one is looking, even when others are not. Number 2, envision yourselves to be our good leaders of tomorrow. And for that, I like the question, the last question that was read, and of course, how beautifully answered by Sir Rentoy. And number 3, do not underestimate the power of faith, the power of prayer, the power of God. 2 things I found interesting and want to share with you is the connectivity and disconnectivity brought about by the social media or by the technical world that we are talking about. And number 2, the truth and distortion and fake news brought about by this world. And the one question I have is a question to myself and to your teachers as well. How can we, your teachers and administrators, help you build your character when at times we lead you to the technocentric world that you are in? Sometimes we are guilty of depriving you of sleep because of our requirements, or of giving you more time to be distracted, and so on and so forth. That's the challenge for us, and that's my question. And to end, I would say that indeed we have to work hand in hand, you and us, your family and our school, SPUQC, so we can thrive in this technocentric world. Let us make small steps as we close our monitor for today. Remember to sleep well, eat well, and pray well. Then maybe next week, we can proceed to delaying gratification, cutting off our times on video games, etc. Let's start together. Ako rin, lagi ako nasa computer. That's why when I was listening, I was trying to assess, am I a computer addict? We are into this world together. Do not worry, you are not alone. We are here to help you build your character. Allow us to help you choose and decide. Have a nice weekend. See you again. Thank you so much again, Mr. Emmanuel Rentoy, and I am happy to be with you, junior high school and senior high school students, advisors, and the homeroom and SWC team. God bless you all. Caritas Christi, Urget Nos.